Hey friends, it is Lane with Tim's Nation. I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about the DeathWatch. I'm taking into DJ's Necrons. Now, I've been playing DeathWatch the last couple times on the channel, but we're doing something a little different this time. No Black Spear Task Force. We are trying one of the new Marine detachments that they dropped, and you can probably guess which one. We are doing the Bastion Task Force today because the Bastion Task Force benefits and gets benefits from battle line units. And with DeathWatch, we've got a couple juicy battle line options to add to the regular Marine battle line options. So with Bastion Task Force, if any battle line units, first of all, get a bunch of benefits. First of all, they can advance, shoot, and charge, and fall back, shoot, and charge. That's really good. In DeathWatch, we have access to the Watchmaster, but this allows us to get the benefits of the Watchmaster without paying the points for them. We can put a different character onto the DeathWatch vets, or we can just run them without a character to keep them cheap. And they still get those extra benefits. Now, in addition to that, any battle line units can also advance or fall back and do actions. So you have additional ways to do actions or to start actions. And this is just more efficiency for the army. A lot of times you might have a battle line unit that's been whittled down a little bit and not going to be able to contribute that much to the damage. So instead of using one of your scoring units, your action monkeys, you can use one of the battle line units to take care of that for you as well. And then finally, after a battle line unit has shot or fought, you pick one of the targets that it hit, and that target is Auspex scanned. That matters for some of the stratagems, but it also means that the rest of your army will get to reroll ones to hit into that unit for the rest of the turn. Not just a phase, but the rest of the turn. So you can shoot something with a battle line unit, and then for the rest of that turn, both in the rest of that shooting phase and in the fight phase, whole army is going to reroll ones to hit into it. That's kind of an interesting non-combo with the DeathWatch vets, because DeathWatch vets already reroll ones to hit all the time anyways. But there's a strat in there where we can also give them reroll ones to wound, which can be handy to get a lot of extra efficiency out of the fighty DeathWatch vets. So yeah, that's the abilities. We also have some enhancements. I'll talk about the enhancements on the list, and then we'll come back and talk about the strats afterwards and how we plan to use those. So let's check out the list. Here we go. All right, this is exactly 2,000 points of DeathWatch in the Bastion Task Force. So we do have a captain in Gravis armor. He's going to be joining the Indomitor squad, of course. Captain gives his unit the ability to access a strat, reducing the cost of a strat by 1 CP. Always good. He halves damage on himself, making him extra durable once his unit is dead, and making him resistant to being sniped out. But then we're giving him the enhancement Hero of the Chapter. And what this means is that his unit, that Indomitor kill team, is going to be considered battle lines. So that means they get all the benefits in this detachment of being battle lines. That means my Indomitor team will be able to advance, shoot, and charge, fall back, shoot, and charge, and advance and fall back and do actions. Plus, they'll be able to Auspex scan things as well, making that squad just extra juicy. That's one of the problems with the regular DeathWatch, is that a lot of times they can get tagged and locked into combat and not able to activate. This is going to give them that ability to fall back and shoot, fall back, advance, and charge, all that good stuff. It's going to make them more useful. And the Indomitors still get their +2 strength, the nearest eligible target, and +2 strength on the charge. So they'll be able to better take advantage of both those abilities. Moving on, we do have a lieutenant. The lieutenant is going to be joining the Decimus kill team. He has the enhancement. Now, lieutenant, of course, gives his unit lethal hits, and it gives them the fallback ability to fall back, shoot, and charge. That ability is kind of redundant because he's joining a battle line unit. The Decimus kill team is battle line. But the real reason I'm adding him on here, real reason I chose the lieutenant, is because he's cheap. He's only 55 points, and we're sticking an enhancement on him. We're putting on the Eye of the Primarch, which is a cheap enhancement. It's only 10 points. And that means all the ranged weapons in a battle line unit will get precision. And so we're putting with the Decimus, because we have some good shooting in the Decimus, I'm going to put 2 Infernus Heavy Bolters in there. The Heavy Bolter profiles are flat 3 damage, meaning we're going to have some flat 3 damage Heavy Bolters that have precision, along with a couple of Hell Blasters, a few other guns. And even though it's not WYSIWYG on the model, I put the Mastercrafted Bolter on the Lieutenant. So even he's got 2 shots that are 2 damage that might be able to contribute to taking out a character. So the enhancement, it's interesting. I don't know how necessary it is. It would also be interesting on like a squad of 10 intercessors, 40 bolter shots that all have precision would be pretty juicy as well. There's some other options for it, of course. But here, I think it'll be interesting to give this to the Decimus kill team, just because we've got some high-value shooting from the Hellblasters, the Infernus Heavy Bolters, all that sort of thing. Next, of course, we have a Combi Weapon Lieutenant. We still have score points in this army, with this army, even though our kill teams, our battle line units will be able to advance and fall back and do actions. Sometimes we just want those units to do damage, so we got to have our Combi Weapon Lieutenant out there. The army is going to get a lot of reroll ones to hit. Of course, he gives us reroll ones to wound on a chosen objective, and gives that an ability to score, especially because he's a lone op. He can stay out there, hold an objective, do a few actions, score some points. Everybody knows the Combi Weapon Lieutenant is great. And then finally, we got 2 chaplains. 2 chaplains. What I'm doing today is because we don't need the Watchmaster for the advanced shoot and charge or the fallback shoot and charge with his units. I have some other character options. And today I'm actually running 3 of the DeathWatch vets. So the DeathWatch vets, I'm going to run one without a character just to keep it cheap. One's going to have a regular chaplain, another's going to have the chaplain with the enhancement that gives them extra AP. Now, of course, the chaplains are going to make their units so that they get +1 to wound in combat, and they can also unbattle shock a unit, which is kind of handy. There seems to be more detachments out there that have battle shock shenanigans, so being able to unbattle shock one of our units is going to be useful at some point during the game. But giving those heavy thunderhammers and those power swords and the DeathWatch vets +1 to wound is going to be super strong, making them even more efficient. So they're going to get a lot of utility out of these units. Like I said, I toyed with the idea that making the DeathWatch vets without a character for 190 points is just a relatively cheap unit, having the ability to advance, fall back, shoot, charge, all that good stuff. But we're going to stick the chaplains on here just to make sure they hit extra hard in combat. And then, like I said, one of the chaplains, we're going to choose the one that has a bear head. The bear-headed chaplain is going to be our one with enhancement, and that is Blades of Valor. And that just gives extra AP to the melee weapons equipped by Bear's battle line, by both the bearer and the battle line models in his unit. So that means our DeathWatch heavy thunderhammers are getting pushed to AP3. Even the power swords in that unit going to AP3. The chaplain's own weapon going from AP1 to AP2 is useful and handy too, because chaplains usually just have that low AP1 Crozius. So just going to give us some extra efficiency out of those DeathWatch vets with the heavy thunderhammers. Moving on, we do have battle line units. Of course, we've got battle line units in the Bastion Task Force. First of all, we'll get it out of the way. We do have a 5-man of intercessors. Even though we've got a lot of other battle line units, these guys are still great to hold your home field objective, sticky that objective, and once any threats to deep strike or uppy downies from your opponent are gone, they can move off, contribute to the game a little bit by doing some shooting because they got 4 shots apiece. But also, they can go out there and do actions now because they have the ability to advance and do actions. It's going to make them even more useful in the game. But as it is, they're still great for holding that home field objective and sticky in objectives. Next, we do have one of the Decimus kill teams. Guys, I have talked about how I don't love the Decimus for competitive play. The models, of course, are super cool. I think in more casual play, they're fun because they have a combination of shooting and fighting. And that, the individual shooting characteristics and the individual fighting characteristics are pretty decent. But in DeathWatch, typically, I have so much high-value shooting that I need a dedicated close combat unit. And the DeathWatch vets just do that better with more Thunderhammers, more Storm Shields, more Power Swords, all that just adding up to more. Plus, they're 10 points cheaper at the 10-man squad. But like I said, today we're going to try the Decimus just to give them precision, because they do have the heavy bolter with a flat 3 damage. They do have a couple Hellblasters in there. They do have a couple bolters on the Phobos guys. We've got a couple a plasma pistol, that sort of thing in here. So they will be joined by the lieutenant with enhancement that gives them precision. Now, I'm not running them WYSIWYG. I built my Decimus kill team and built one of each model. So 1 frag cannon, 1 Infernus heavy bolter, 1 storm shield, 1 thunderhammer, that sort of thing. For today, the way we're going to run them, we're going to, we're processing a little bit here, but essentially both of the heavy weapons will be Infernus heavy bolters. Both of the shooty guys will be Hellblasters. Both of the Phobos guys will be the bolters, the bolt rifles. And then both of the combat guys will be the guys with storm shields because they will probably die first. We're probably not trying to get into combat too much with this unit. It's more going to be holding back and shooting to precision out some characters. And then, of course, we have the one guy with the Xenophase Blade and the Sergeant. So those guys will be as they usually are. But yeah, we're doing 2 of the Infernus Heavy Bolters. That's 6 shots that are 3 damage apiece. Really gives us a lot of potential to snipe out a character. And of course, there is some combat, so we can, if we get stuck in, we can punch a little bit. And of course, still battle line, so we'll still be able to fall back, shoot, and charge, and take advantage of all those rules there. Then moving on, I am running three of the DeathWatch veteran squads at 10 mans today. They're all equipped the same way. I toyed with the idea of putting more shooting attacks in there just to proc off the Auspex scan a little bit. And the fact is that frag cannons are really good when you get them nice and close. So your ability to advance and shoot and fall back and shoot is really good with the frag cannons because they are 18-inch range. They're D3 shots, but they're rapid fire D3 and blast. So if you're within 9 inches, you're getting 2 D3 plus blast shots. Just for one guy, that's a lot of bullets that are strength 7, AP 1, 2 damage coming out of these guys. But it's up to, however you want to play it, you can play it. But still in this detachment, I'm just putting 1 frag cannon in here. We're going to have 4 of the heavy thunder hammers, 4 guys with storm shields, 3 with regular power swords, 1 with a Xenophase blade, 1 black spear blade, which is the twin link power sword, and then 1 guy with a frag cannon. The frag cannon can still pop off a few shots and put some things into Auspex scan. And but other than that, we're really focusing on combat with these guys. Especially we've got 2 units that'll be led by chaplains, so they're going to get +1 to wound. Those thunder hammers will just do work into infantry because they're essentially wounding all infantry on 2s. Even something like Victrix Guard that are neg to wound, well, they're only T4. So they'd be wounding on 2s anyways. Neg wound +1 to wound from the chaplain just puts them back to 2s, making those thunder hammers even more efficient. Plus we have a strat that lets us reroll 1s to wound in either shooting or fighting, so we can get some extra value out of there if we need to use that strat. Just make sure we polish off a unit. Yeah, but there are other things you could run with these. You can put more shooting into them and really take advantage of the ability to shoot as well as charge when you advance or fall back. But usually the guns are the first thing to die, and then we go on to the storm shields. But now, as I said, there's some anti-synergy here because they always reroll 1s to hit anyways. But that just means they get to shoot before any Auspex scans are handed out, so they can kind of hand out the scans so other units can benefit from those. Now, of course, we are playing into the Xenos today, so they are going to get full rerolls to hit anytime they punch into Xenos, which is really good for those thunder hammers because they naturally hit on 4s. So it's going to get really juicy there. I don't have these guys exactly WYSIWYG. I don't have 30 DeathWatch vets kitted out with all the ways I want. The third squad just has some random stuff in there, but they're all equipped with 4 thunder hammers, 4 storm shields, a black shield blade, and a frag cannon. So as guys die from one unit, I might place them. And again, 2 of them are starting in the Rhino, so it doesn't really matter that much. But yeah, 30 of the DeathWatch vets. And of course, because we got DeathWatch vets, I am bringing 2 Rhinos. The Rhinos, we don't see much in typical Space Marines, but DeathWatch vets are firstborn, so they can fit into Rhinos. And that just means they're going to be even launching further out of here when they go for their big hit turns. So the Rhino lets them disembark 3 inches. They'll have advance and charge. So in addition to their 6-inch move, they're going to disembark 3 inches, move 6 inches, advance, and then they'll be able to charge as well, just making their threat range all the bigger. And then Rhinos are kind of nice to get out there and go score a few points, do some secondaries, get on primaries, that sort of thing. With 3 DeathWatch vet squads, I do plan to kind of reload one of the Rhinos once we send somebody out. But yeah, the Rhinos are going to be great for that. Moving on, we do have a squad of jump pack intercessors. Jump pack intercessors are good, guys. Like I said, even though we have a lot of battle on here, we're still going to want some little scoring units, so JPI are great for that. And of course, they benefit from the Auspex scanning. If someone shoots them, they'll get to reroll their 1s to hit when they're shooting and fighting. So they get a little more efficiency that way. Moving on, we do have a Talon Strike kill team. Talon Strike, they're still just good. The high AP when they come in, And they already have assault on the Inceptors and their pistols, so a lot of times there's shooting combat, so I don't even really worry about them advancing or falling back and shooting and charging, all that stuff. I can do that with the strat, but it's nice to have a unit where that's not entirely necessary. And then moving on, finally, we do have the Indomitor kill team. My Indomitor kill team is loaded with 3 aggressors with the bolters and the grenades, 3 eradicators, 2 bolt rifles, and 2 heavy bolters. These guys now really get to take advantage of their special rule, which is +2 to shoot in the nearest target. Or I'm sorry, +2 strength when they're shooting the nearest target and +2 strength when they charge. And because they're being led by the Grav captain who has the enhancement that makes them battle line, that means they're going to be able to advance, shoot, charge, fall back, shoot, charge, and take full advantage of their rules. All right, that's it. That's the list. All right, so that's the list. Interestingly, Tabletop Titans already did a video where they used DeathWatch in the Bastion Task Force. I don't think they took full advantage of the DeathWatch kill teams and all their the battle line units. So this is definitely a different list from what they run. And not to brag, but I know a little bit more about DeathWatch than those guys do. So, but let's go through the strats here, because the strats there's some interesting ones that give us some extra abilities. And it's kind of talk about how we plan to use this. As I said, DeathWatch vets are going to be charging out, punching things. The Talon Strike will still do Talon Strike things. They're not going to get the extra AP from their strat, but they're still going to get their extra AP from their data sheet rule on the turn they come in. And they don't really need the battle line abilities, so they still have a lot of flexibility. And then the Indomitors, of course, the Indomitor is going to be pretty good in this detachment because the advance and shoot and charge, fall back, shoot and charge just means they can take full advantage of their +2 strength, both in shooting and fighting. And we get to use that multiple times. Now, there's no Terminators in here, and I toyed with the idea of running a couple Terminator squads. One of them we can put a character like a chaplain with, and then give it the enhancement to make them battle line. The other one we can put a captain with and use the strat that we'll talk about here in a second to kind of make it function like a battle line with the ability to fall back and shoot and charge. And that's super useful with their Terminators because they're good at both shooting and punching. And it really lets them take full advantage of that, especially because they naturally reroll charges. And because they do make your opponents take battle shock tests when they complete charges, that fallback and charge thing they're going to get a lot of efficiency out of that. So I think that's another good build. I don't have that today. Today I just want to spam DeathWatch vets, but it's something to keep in mind that a couple Terminator squads, one with a character that makes them battle line, another one with a captain. You use the strat for free to make them fall back, shoot and charge, or advance shoot and charge. You're going to get have a lot of fun with that and really take advantage of both their shooting and fighting. So let's talk about the strats a little bit here. Oh, I had them up. Where did they go? There it is. First of all, Codex Discipline. In your shooting or fight phase, until the end of the phase, each time the model makes an attack that targets an enemy unit, reroll a hit roll 1. Now, if the target is already Auspex scanned, reroll a wound roll of 1 as well. So, as I said, both the DeathWatch vets with their Thunderhammers to just get extra efficiency out of those and the blades. In that unit, you're going to reroll 1s to wound is going to be really helpful. And even things like the Indomitor, just with the quantity of attacks they have in shooting, you're going to get some value out of the rerolling 1s to wound. We already have the Combi Weapon Lieutenant, so we're going to have an objective where we mark that we're going to be rolling 1s to wound on. But now we have another way of getting that out of an attack. We just have to make sure that the unit we're going into is Auspex scan first before we in order to get that reroll 1s to wound. But it's just going to give us some extra efficiency. Next, Guided Disruption. Basically, after a unit has shot or fought, and that unit has been Auspex scanned, you can make it so they're -2 to their move and charge rolls for the next turn until the start of your next turn. Excludes monsters and vehicles. A good way to debuff a unit if you need to. It's probably not something I'm going to use a whole lot. But if we do have a combat unit that I'm not going to be able to deal with this turn, I can throw a couple shots into it, Auspex scan it, and use this strat to kind of shut down some of their ability to move and charge. Light of Vengeance. In shooting and fight phase, basically I give a unit either lethal or sustained, and until the end of the phase, either while I'm targeting an Auspex scan unit or if the unit is battle line, they're going to get lethal or sustained. Again, a good efficiency. We've got an extra way to buff up our shooting and combat. Where naturally we get this we get sustained or lethal with our DeathWatch Black Spirit Task Force. But now we can get that here as well. So we can give those Thunderhammers sustained. we can give that Indomitor kill team sustain. We can get some extra efficiency out of there if we have the CP to spend on it. Shock bombardment. Again, in the shooting or fight phase, after we've attacked, we pick a unit that we've off-spec scanned, and until the start of our next turn, that unit is -1 to hit. So again, if we have a unit that are not going to really be able to deal with this turn, we can tag them and then off-spec scan them, and then use this to make them -1 to hit. This is also useful in combat. Once we go in there and punch, if someone's going to be attacking us back, if we don't finish them off, well, once our battle line unit has attacked, we can just use their off-spec scan at that point. Then we can use this strat to make them -1 to hit us when they swing back at us. So it can kind of give us an extra defense there. Because as you'll notice, we do not have armor or contempt. So we have a couple other defensive strats. This is one of them. And the other one is simply either my opponent's shooting or the fight phase when they choose to attack. Battle line unit, we can make them -1 to wound us if their strength is higher than our toughness. And with a lot of toughness 4, a lot of times the strength is going to be higher than our toughness. So this is our defensive strat rather than armor of contempt. Is it better than armor contempt? Well, it lasts for the whole phase because unlike an armor or an AP reduction strat, it does not limit it to just one activation. It is until the end of the phase. So this can kind of double up if we have the CP for it. If we go into a big unit and don't finish it off, we can both make it -1 to hit with the other strat and make us -1 to wound with this strat, meaning we can actually give ourselves some significant defensive buffs if we have the CP for it, and if we're going to worried about them wiping our squad in return. And then finally, Heresy Undone in either our shooting or our charge phase. Basically, we pick one Adeptus Astartes unit, and they're able to, until the end of the phase, they can either shoot and declare a charge if they've advanced or fell back, or they can, one or the other. It's per phase, so it doesn't work through both shooting and fighting phases. But either in your movement phase, you choose this, and you can shoot and charge, even if you're falling back. Let me read it again here. Until the end of the phase, your unit is eligible to shoot and declare a charge in a turn in which it advanced or fell back. If it does, every target of that charge and every target of those attacks must be an off-spec scan unit. So essentially, we have a way of giving our non-battle line unit the ability to fall back, shoot, and charge with the strat there. So it gives even more of this same flexibility to the rest of the army. So I think there's a lot of play here. I don't know if it's better than Black Spirit Task Force, but if you're a DeathWatch player and you're tired of Black Spirit Task Force, this definitely has some play in it. We're going to see how it performs today. But it gives us some interesting abilities and just means that all of our DeathWatch vets are going to be advancing and shooting and charging and falling back and shooting and charging, which is a lot to deal with because they are big 10-man units with some inbounds in there. So follow me over to the battle report. Let's see how these guys do. Let's see how the DeathWatch do in the Bastion Task Force. All right, have a good one.